Welcome to our unit leader orientation for RSR's Scouts BSA camp next week, week 3. We're really excited to have you all out at camp. We're in our second week right now, and it's been a great season so far. And we're really excited to welcome your scouts into the experience. Um, oops. Uh, my name is Brian Murray. I'm the camp director at RSR, and we are also joined this evening by Quinn Cicolella. He is our program director. You may know Quinn. He's been with us the last several years, most recently as our commissioner the last few years, and now he's moved to the program director position. And he'll be speaking with you a little bit about the program opportunities a little bit later on. I did want to start off with sort of our, kind of Sunday process. And before we get into that, to just give you a traffic advisory that is affecting the area here, which is that for visitors that are coming from the north that normally arrive via Brunswick, there is a closed road on State Route 351, which is a road that I think most people coming from that direction would normally take to come to camp. So we're letting you folks know about that. They're doing a culvert replacement that's taking all summer long for them to do that. So the recommendation from State DOT is to take Route 355, Garfield Road, and State Route 2. So you can kind of just go a little bit further east on Route 2 there, and then come across via Blue Factory Road to get to camp. It would be a different way of going rather than through 351. If you are coming from the south, from Albany, this is likely not going to affect you. If you're normally one that comes up and you hit the blinking light from the right in front of you and take a right to go up Plank Road, then this is not going to affect you. But if you're coming from the north, it could be an obstacle for you. So just give you a heads up on that. So let's start with Sunday's check-in process here. We begin check-in at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We ask that troops do not begin gathering in the parking lot until 12:30. The reason for that is we really don't want the scouts out in the sun for a long time. They get there really early and they're not being fed or anything like that. The staff is in a staff meeting until just before then and finishing up some last minute chores and processes before you come in. So 12:30 is a good arrival time to start gathering the troop, make sure that everybody's there so that when the staff guide comes up to meet you at 1 o'clock, you'll be ready to go. When that happens, we ask that the staff guide's going to come to the troop in the parking lot. We're going to meet you up there. And the staff guide's going to ask the scoutmaster or whoever is managing the roster for the week to come down to see me in the office. And we're going to do a quick check-in. I'm going to give you some resources and we're going to verify the roster that we've got everybody that we were expecting and compare that to the notes that we have. As you're doing that, let's please make sure that the medical forms go with a different adult leader to the campsite, because while the scoutmaster comes down to check in with me, the staff guide is going to take the troop directly to the campsite. And their good job is to get the troop in there, get them to drop their gear, and immediately, as fast as possible, get them in front of one of our medical officers so that they can begin the medical recheck process. So if the medical forms are with the scoutmaster up in the office, that could delay that process because they're not able to start the med checks. We have med check officers set up in a couple of different locations around camp to make sure that you can go to one that's close to your campsite and be able to begin that process. When you are greeted by the staff guide, the guide will give you an orange vehicle pass. That is for one vehicle to bring gear down to the campsite. That is one vehicle at a time. If you have multiple vehicles that need to bring gear in, then we ask that you please do a relay. So one vehicle goes down, unloads, it brings the pass back up to the parking lot, gives it to the next vehicle to come down. Something many of you know, if you've been around camp with us before, there are several points along our roads which are one-way passable. They do not have two-way passability. And so we try to reduce the amount of traffic that's on the road on Sunday afternoon when there's a lot of units trying to get through, as well as staff vehicles and other things to manage that. So one vehicle at a time. The other thing that's important is please do not bring your vehicles into the campsite. Sometimes we get troops that are backing trailers and stuff right up to the pavilion in the center of the site, and we ask you please do not do that. There's please leave vehicles at the entrance to the site. Each site typically has kind of a little bit of a transition space between the road that you came in on and the actual campsite. That would be the place to leave your trailer. Or if you're backing up a pickup truck or something like that, that would be the place to do that unloading so that you're not blocking the road for other vehicles, but also not going into the campsite. That's both a safety issue, making sure that we're not driving into a space where scouts might be walking around and not paying attention to or expecting a vehicle to be coming through, as well as making sure that we're not turning up the campsites, with ruts and things of that sort from vehicles. Please do return that vehicle pass to the office that afternoon. That vehicle pass is for load in only. If there is someone in your troop that requires vehicle accessibility during the week due to a medical condition, that's something you can see me and we can talk about that, and we may be able to give you a vehicle pass for that situation. But the pass that is given to you on Sunday is just for load in. All right. A few other things as far as kind of planning and preparation for coming out to camp. Health and safety. All adults do need to have the current youth protection or now safeguarding youth training that is offered by Scouting America. All adults that are staying in camp must have one or the other of that training. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the safeguarding youth training, that's a new thing that just got launched by National May, I think that was the month at the national meeting. And so that has replaced youth protection. If you have a youth protection certificate that is still current, right? In other words, you have not reached your expiration date, that card is still good and will remain valid until the end of May of 2026. Regardless of when your expiration date is, if your expiration date is beyond that date, at the end of May, they're cutting it off. But the new training for anybody that has to update their card is now the safeguarding youth training. And that either one of those is acceptable for summer camp this year. Next year, it will only be the safeguarding youth training that is acceptable, but either one can be used for this year. So all adults that are staying in camp need to have one of those two trainings current, and everyone needs to go through the background check from New York State. And that does need to happen before you arrive at camp. So there's two ways we do this. We pull the data from the Black Pug camp registration. So when you registered adult leaders, if you put them in there, we pulled that data. We also have our Google form that is right on the front page of the camp website at rsrbsa.org. If you have adults that maybe you have multiple adults that are kind of swapping in and out over the course of the week, and you maybe just put one in the Black Pug to kind of pay for that spot, but you've got others that are going to be filling that spot over the course of the week. Put their names and date of birth into the Google form, please, because we will pull that data to run the background check. If you want to add others, like you're welcome to do so, even if they're not coming to camp. If you have parents or adults that are registered with your troop that you think maybe at the last minute might decide that they want to come out to camp for a night, put them in. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't actually cost us anything, and we can run that background check for all of the adults in your unit. I'm going to ask that you please do that. If you haven't already, please do that within the next 24 hours so that we have time to submit the new background check to the state office and get a response back by the end of this week. Of course, on Sunday afternoon, state offices aren't open. Neither are they open in the evenings. Those are the two times when people tend to arrive at camp. So we do need to have that cleared prior to the week of camp. As you know, hopefully also any adults that are staying in camp do need to be registered with Scouting America to your unit. So they need to be an assistant scoutmaster, committee member, whatever the case may be, whatever position you got them with, as long as they're registered with your troop to they are eligible to come and spend the night at camp. We will use a couple different forms of identification to make sure that we know who's on the property. Adult leaders who are staying with the troops will get one of these silicone wristbands similar to the one I'm wearing, but a different color. Anybody that's coming onto camp as just a short-term guest, so parent is dropping off some gear or they're coming in for the Wednesday night barbecue, they'll get one of those Tyvek wristbands like you get at the carnival for things like that. That'll designate that they are visitors coming into camp. And that is an indication that they have signed into the office. If somebody doesn't have one of those wristbands, please ask them to make sure that they're signed in up at the office because that's when we're checking their credentials. We also have a camper release form for any scouts that might have to leave during the week prior to Saturday morning. Scouts got to leave to go to a baseball game or family commitment or something like that. That camper release form needs to be signed by the parent, and it's also going to need to be signed by one of the adult leaders that is remaining in the site at that time. So what the scoutmaster or one of the assistant leaders that's in camp, that way you're basically signing off on the fact that you know that that scout is leaving camp. That form is available on our website on the resources tab. If you go to rsrbsa.org and across the top, there's a resources tab. You go down there. This is linked on there. So a parent could have this all filled out before they come, and you can pre-sign it and leave it in the office so that we know that that scout is permitted to leave. Continuing with health and safety, we ask all scouts to and encourage leaders as well to support the buddy system to make sure that they're traveling with a buddy everywhere they go throughout camp. This doesn't necessarily have to be somebody from your troop, right? Where you train the staff to encourage scouts. So you've got a scout that's going from the aquatics area up to Trail to First Class, and there's another scout from a different troop that's doing the same thing. We try to encourage them to put them together so that they travel together with a buddy. We have the sign in, sign out system as well that starts in your campsite with the discs similar to the buddy tags, and then continues throughout every program area where the scouts sign in when they arrive and sign out when they leave. And these are important measures for helping to track scouts as they move about the camp. For our emergency procedures, I'll talk about this with the whole camp in the dining hall on Monday morning, but we have two sirens that we use. The first one is a sort of a long flat siren, and that is what we would use in the case of a lost camper, lost bather, or any other kind of an emergency where we need to assemble everybody in camp at one place to take attendance. We ask everyone to please gather quickly at the Tuscadaga field. That's the field directly in between Tuscarora, Onondaga, Spruce, and Taconic campsites. They're all the four corners of that field, and right in front of Tuscarora campsite, and to line up by troop and remain standing until everybody in the troop is present, including the adult leaders. When everybody in the troop is present, then you are asked to sit or squat down or have the scouts do so that we can look across the field quickly and see who we're waiting on, who still is looking for folks. One change that we are making to this slight change to this process is that in the past, we've usually done a brief test of that system 3 times a day at 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. We are only going to do it at 7 a.m. this year. So you'll hear it go off for about a second at 7 a.m. And the rest of the day, you won't hear it unless there is a need to assemble everybody at the field. The second siren that we have is called the Yelp, and that is for severe weather. We ask the folks to gather at the dining hall or Seneca Lodge down at the waterfront. The Yelp sounds a lot more like an emergency vehicle, like an ambulance or a police car type siren. And we, again, would use that if we need to get everyone to secure shelter. One thing to stress when you're talking to the scouts is to encourage them to please go to whichever of those two facilities is closer to where they are when they hear the siren. We don't want scouts going past a shelter potentially during a thunderstorm or something, but just to go to the one that they think they should be going to. We will take attendance in both locations and make sure that we compare notes with you as the adult leaders to make sure that everybody is fully accounted for. We'll also talk briefly about our active shooter protocol, which is we don't have a third siren for this purpose. So in order to differentiate and communicate this, we essentially will use our electronic means of communication. We will use our radios that the staff have access to. We will also use the Remind alert system, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, to communicate with all of you. And the message there is if we are faced with an unauthorized intruder, active shooter type scenario, everyone is told to just run into the woods. We unfortunately don't have, to use the terminology, a hardened facility that would be protective for that. So the idea is to run into the woods until law enforcement calls people back in after the threat has been removed. We will, at check-in, we will give each of the participants, sorry, not each of the participants, each of you, each troop, a strip of flagging tape and ask you to put it on the tent or the lean-to that the leader is camping in for that week. And that is simply so that in the event of an emergency or some phone call from home in the middle of the night, we know who to go to help identify and wake up the scout that we need access to. If it's a severe weather coming through, we're not going to use the siren at night because you probably won't hear it if you're sleeping. We will send staff out in vehicles to go directly to the staff, to the scoutmaster, and help you wake up everybody and get them to the shelter. And also in the case that we get a parent phone call from home in the middle of the night of some sort of an emergency, we can go and use you to help find that scout so that we can communicate with them. We promise we're not going to drop your tent on you or harass you in any way with that tent. Okay, a few messages from our health and safety officer. That is Josh Clark. I included his picture here so you can get to know him and know who he is. And he is a great resource for us on the health side. He's an EMT. Some things to keep in mind. All medications that are brought to camp need to be in their original containers. This is Department of Health regulation. We cannot accept medications that are in something else. So, like those Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday things might be very useful, but in this context, it must be in the original bottles that the medication came in. Again, that includes OTC or over-the-counter medications. Prescriptions must also have the patient's name on them. So sometimes we're presented with a bottle that has a parent's name on it or a sibling's name on it. And the message we're given is it's okay because we all take the same thing and we just sort of share the prescription. We can't do that. It's got to have the name of the patient on it, the scout. We do have three AEDs located around camp should they become necessary in an emergency. One of them is located up here in the camp office on the wall inside the conference room. A second one is located at the aquatics area inside the ice house, which is the guard station down there. And the third one travels in Josh's vehicle. And if Josh ever leaves camp, he hands that off to whoever is replacing him as the EMT for that particular time period. So those are our three locations for the AEDs. One thing that we're also asking from you, an extra note this year, is if you provide medical treatment to a scout or an adult for that matter in your site, something minor that you're able to treat there, maybe a scout cuts themselves, but it's, you've got the troop first aid kit and you put a Band-Aid on it or something like that. That's great. That's not a problem. But we do need you to report those injuries to Josh so that we can document them in the health and safety log. Josh has prepared QR codes for the campsites. The staff members have the same QR code on the back of our ID badges. And you could just hit that QR code and type in the record of who's the patient, what happened, where treatment was provided, et cetera. So you don't even need to speak to Josh. You can just document it right in there. But we do need to have a record of that. If you're able to treat something in the campsite that's relatively minor, there's no need to wake Josh up at 3 o'clock in the morning just to say, hey, by the way, we put a Band-Aid on this scout. You can just put it in the form or let him know the next morning. Talked about limiting the vehicles in camp. I also want to stress the fact that the speed limit throughout camp is 10 miles per hour. So as soon as you pass the ranger's house at the main gate, which is when it turns from pavement to dirt road, from then on throughout the rest of the camp, the speed limit is 10 miles per hour. And we ask that you please respect that and keep vehicles out of campsites and off grassy areas. This is not a test of the four-wheel drive capabilities of your vehicles and trucks. It's really about the fact that while your vehicle may be able to get out of the field, it oftentimes leaves a really big mess behind with ruts that then can't be mowed because of the ruts in the field. So this is one reason why we limit vehicles so that vehicles don't have to get off the road in order to allow another vehicle to pass. And something that's always, unfortunately, a risk at scouting activities and has been a leading cause of injuries at scouting activities. Please, no riders in the backs of trucks or on trailers as they're riding through camp. For communication, I mentioned the Remind alert system that we use. If you've been with us before, you've seen this. You may use it with your children in school as well. Here's our class code for next week. It is at 3 RSR BSA 25. So you can text that code to that number, 81010. If you have the app on your phone, you can just go ahead and add a class and add that number in there, and you will be on our list to receive communications related to camp next week. So this is a limited number of reminders about things that are going on at camp, program schedule changes, honor troop notifications, reminders to put trash out, things like that. And we will just use it for next week. We also have the camp newspaper, the RSR Confidential, which has daily schedules of all the program activities that are happening throughout camp, and that'll be delivered to your table at the dining hall in the morning for breakfast. And Ed Keelan, our assistant ranger, camp historian, and newspaper editor, also publishes a link to this on Facebook. If you go to Ed Keelan's Facebook page, you look him up, it says Ed Keelan, and then in parentheses it says, I think it's History of Rotary Scout Reservation or something Rotary Scout Reservation. You can find a link to a Google Drive where he posts all the newspapers. So if parents want to check out what's going on at camp, they can go right there and see more about what's happening at camp and throw a friend to Ed's page. It's a great source of information about what's going on at camp and projects as well as the history of the camp. For emails, we have camp director, that's me, at rsrbsa.org. For Quinn, it's the same, program director at rsrbsa.org. Our cook, Sean Dibble, is returned, and his email address is food@rsrbsa.org, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. And if you need to get in touch with Josh, you can reach him directly at medical@rsrbsa.org. So there's a few email addresses to get in contact with our lead personnel in different areas. For our dining services, I mentioned that Sean is back. We're very happy about that. We run a buffet style dining hall service, and we Sean does a great job of accommodating different food allergies and dietary restrictions that participants might have. But the best way for us to be able to accommodate those is to know about them with as much advance warning as possible. So I've posted a QR code here on the screen. If you or anybody in your party has any dietary restrictions or food allergies, please go ahead and hit that QR code. It'll take you to a Google form where you can enter in all the information if you've not done so already. This code is also in the camp planning guide online. And this will give Sean access to all the information he needs about the folks that are going to be joining us next week. We then, of course, encourage anybody who does this, who has any special needs, to see Sean on Sunday to make sure that when the tour goes through the kitchen, that they stop and see him. He wants to be able to put a name to the face and ask any follow-up questions and know exactly who it is that he's talking to, so he can make sure that they are taken care of during their stay with us. Wednesday lunch will be in the campsite. You do have the option to cook out during other meals if you choose. Those are optional patrol cooking opportunities. We have essentially an a la carte menu that's in your leader's guide that you could fill out and turn in, and food will be delivered to your site if you wish to do patrol cooking in the campsite. The whole troop doesn't need to do it to participate. If you just have a small group that wants to cook or is working on cooking merit badge or something, they can do that. We just need to make sure that you have adult supervision in both locations, both in the campsite where they're cooking as well as in the dining hall where the rest of the troop might be eating. We will come around to do garbage collection each evening after dinner. So please put the trash out at the entrance to your campsite by 6. So in other words, before dinner. And even though we collect it after dinner, we ask you to put it out before dinner because we all know that the first thing that happens as soon as dinner is over is everybody scatters to all the great evening programs that we've got going on, and nobody remembers to go back and put the trash out. So if you put it out before you head down to dinner rather, we'll take care of that for you. And that trash collection is Monday through Friday. Wednesday night is our family night barbecue. Serving does begin at 6 o'clock. We go until essentially we've fed everybody that's here. Depending upon the time, with a smaller group, we may go through that fairly quickly. We will try to hold on before calling seconds until about 6:30, but you should definitely let parents know that if they're getting there later than 6:30, we may not be able to guarantee that we still have things because we are going to open it up for seconds at that point. So because we may be waiting for, with the folks that are already there. But 6 o'clock we start service. Tickets are available online. You can get them from the front page of the Rotary website. They're also available on the Twin Rivers Council website at trcscouting.org/calendar. If you just go to next Wednesday's date, you'll be able to see that. There is also an email that will be going out to everybody that's registered for the week, parents as well, on Sunday, that will have this link so they can go in and purchase their tickets online. Tickets are $18 for age 11 and up, $15 for age 10 and under. Please stress to parents who are coming out for family night that all guests do need to check in at the office. That is the barbecue is not mandatory. If folks want to just come up and visit and not participate in the barbecue, they're welcome to do so. I know sometimes, somebody might bring their own food. That's fine. You only need to purchase a ticket if you are participating in the barbecue, but everybody needs to sign in at the office. And that's goes back to what we were talking about before about signing into camp and getting your wristband so that we know where you are. After the barbecue, we will have a campfire that'll start about 8:15. And that is a great campfire because it's mostly put on by the Scouts. So they do a great job and everybody's well entertained by the activities. Troop photos are available as well. We will be taking troop photos on Monday evening after dinner. We do ask every troop to sit for a photo, even if you don't want to purchase any, and that's totally fine. But we do ask every troop to sit for the photo sitting so that we can include you in our slideshow at the end of the week. If you'd like to purchase copies, they come printed in a fancy border with text on it and stuff. Those photos are $10 each, and you'll have them back by the end of the week. Uh, the things that we'll ask you for when we're taking the photo is, would you like to have your chartered organization's name printed across the photo? You can. It's totally optional. If you want that, we just need to know what that is. So the school or the church or what have you that charters your unit or where you meet, if you tell us that information, we can get that printed across the picture as well. Sometimes folks even like to get an extra photo to present to that chartered organization so they can hang up as well. But that's totally up to you. Our camp liaison service, right? Our folks that are going to be helping you out and serving as a link between you and the units. You may formerly known as the commissioners. We're trying to move away from that term. It was suggested that we're looking at the council and national are trying to move to a commissioner model that is less evaluative. And so, since we do daily inspections, we're using a different vocabulary for that. But in the past, it's we've called this the commissioners. They'll do a daily campsite visit if you complete a campsite improvement project, you can earn extra points on your daily campsite visitation score. The top score each day amongst the troops has the honor of being the honor troop. That means that you get to take down the flag at the end of the day and raise the flags the next morning with your troop flag up over the camp for the day. These folks are also a really important liaison to provide communication between you and the camp administration. If you have any questions or concerns, to share that through that camp liaison service with us. Of course, you're welcome to talk to us at any time. We welcome feedback and want to make sure that you're having a good, comfortable stay at camp. We do recommend when they're doing the campsite, when they're doing the latrine cleaning, every latrine has a big bin of wood shavings there. Have the scouts put one scout size handful of wood shavings down each seat each day. And that does help with the composting process and helps with the smell. But the thing that most helps with smells of latrines, keeping the lids closed. That allows the composting process to work. And the last note on this is that we do have a quartermaster that is well stocked with different tools that you may need if you're going to conduct any sort of campsite improvement projects or service projects. Toilet paper, cleaning kits, any of those kind of stuff, all at the quartermaster. We also have those basics, things like toilet paper, garbage bags. Those are available at the kitchen as well as the camp office as well. So you can go to whichever of those three locations and we can take care of you. The quartermaster is staffed by Janet, who also runs our trading post. So the trading post, anytime the trading post is open, the quartermaster is also open. The one thing that we ask is that if you need things from the quartermaster, try not to go into the trading post during the first 20 to 30 minutes that it's open in the morning and in the afternoon and the evening, because that's the big slushy run. All the kids are going in to get their slushies before they head off to program. And then as soon as that clears, she's got all the time in the world to help you out with whatever quartermaster items you might need. All right, Quinn, would you like to talk with us a little bit about program?
Absolutely, more than happy to. Hi, everybody. As Brian introduced me, my name is Quinn. I'm the program director. So, just to go over a few program resources, we do have a merit badge pamphlet lending library located in program areas. I know right now National is fading them out, but we still have the books. Many of them are still viable resources, so feel free to look into them, but they are also available online. Merit badge verification form can be used for leaders to confirm any completion of merit badge prereqs. And there is still midweek progress reports available Wednesday afternoon in the office on the table. So we have a lot of program this year, a lot of cool things happening, as you can see in the picture. For starters, we have campfires on Sunday and Wednesday. We are having our camp-wide game on Tuesday, and our theme is racing towards success. So it's a lot of miscellaneous events based off of program areas with a theme being time to racing. And that's going to be around the Seneca area. We are still using Scoutcraft and ecology and a little bit of waterfront. We additionally have open programs, just like we do every year, from shooting, swimming, crafts, etc. And then we do have that list when you come in to look at what we have for afternoon and evening. We do have tomahawk throwing, scout skill games. We additionally have Trail to First Class takeout, which is something that you can check in with our TTFC director for more information, but essentially gives the ability to work on specific requirements outside of class. Leave No Trace Awareness Award games. And something that's new is we have our RC cars. It's right behind the office. It's been a blast the last 2 weeks with our scouts. You can take them out, run them. They last for like good 30, 45 minutes, depending on how much they use them per battery. We do have trade-offs, and that's available during open and evening program. It's been a really big hit, and you can see the smile on it, all the kids' faces of especially ones that have never used one to the ones that have them at home. It's a cool mix seeing that. Additionally, we have a new program with disc golf. And what's really cool about disc golf is not only can you participate during open program, we are able to work on the golfing merit badge. I believe, Brian, is Tuesday and Thursdays. No, Monday and Thursday. And so we have our handicraft director working on that. It's pretty cool that you get to work on a merit badge and have fun. Additionally, we have our polar bear swim in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we are still offering our Paul Bunyan Award, which is a pretty cool award. There's a lot more work into it than you expect, but the kids really enjoy doing it. So Super Troop is a new award in the sense of how we are marketing it. It is a award that only a single troop can earn in a week, and it's built around open program and optional activities. And there's a list that you will get when you come in, and the goal for it is not necessarily like, oh, we have to do this. It's more of, hey, I know a scout that is doing open program that can get this signed. It's built around all the different activities from, hey, go to handicraft and do a craft or find something at waterfront. If you hit a bullseye at archery and really cool activities. We also jump in things such as like build a gateway at your site, and it allows you to get different points. You get a staff to sign it, and whichever unit has the most amount of points will get Super Troop for that week. There are more items than you can complete, which is on purpose, so that it's about whoever is able to get the most. And it's also built in a way that allows troop size, any size, from, pardon me, a small troop to a large troop, because it's based off of the percent of your unit. Like have a patrol go to this event, or have half your troop go, things like that. Go to polar bear, and it gives everybody a fighting chance to be able to enjoy program, and along the way have a chance to win something such as Super Troop for the week. We do have quite a adult programs available. We have aquatic supervision, which is swimming and water rescue, and palcraft safety. We also, Brian, I believe we're offering WUFA as well on this first aid in the mornings. And then we do have our merit badge completion day, which is August 10th.
Yep, that's right. And Wilderness First Aid does need a you sign up for that. You can sign up for it through Blackbug, or you can sign up for it when you come to camp. We also do have instructors for IOLS on Tuesday and Thursday for week 3. So if individuals are interested in taking the IOLS training course, that's the Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills. That's available Tuesday and Thursday for adult leaders.
So one of my favorite weeks of summer camp is our STEM week. We get a lot of provisionals, a lot of recurring units, and some units just come in for STEM week. So we have all of our merit badges, but then we have our chess, electricity, nuclear science, healthcare professionals. We're merit badge. We're also working on the Nova Mendel's minions and Nova Start Your Engine. It's a really cool experience. We get a lot of additional volunteers, staff that allow us to provide the STEM week, and it's a unique spin compared to other camps to be able to work on these badges where you normally wouldn't have the skill sets being there, and having the volunteers come in to make it happen is a really cool experience to be able to do it right at summer camp. All merit badges are recorded in Blackbug. Records will be exported as Scoutbook. I find this is really useful, and Brian can talk more about this, is that since we went to Blackpug, it's really straightforward. Units may also print the blue cards, uh, traditional blue cards from or to export to TrueMaster. And as we stated earlier, progress reports will be available on Wednesday in the camp office if you have any questions or concerns. And on the right side is just an example.
Yeah, thanks, Quinn. And one of the things is at the end of the week, we will send everything to Scoutbook for you because we know that's the interface that you use most often. But one aspect of this transfer, and this is from National, this isn't an us thing, but as of the last time I checked, and I'm about to upload last week's record, so we'll see if that's changed. But the upload only allows merit badge data to be uploaded into Scoutbook. It does not, or at least in the past, has not allowed other awards to be uploaded. So think of things like Mile Swim, Snorkeling Award, other BSA awards that are not merit badges. So I put this graphic up here so that you can see that the records for those activities still live in your Black Pug account. Whoever is the registration contact for the troop who set up the account and did all the entering of people into the roster, if you just click on that reports tab that's at the top of your troop roster, you will have access to a number of different reports, which includes completion data on all the merit badges and awards that the scouts earned at camp that week. So even if something is not able to be exported up to Scoutbook, like a Mile Swim award or a Snorkeling BSA award, if you go into that reports page, you will see the records there and you can manually input that into Scoutbook. We may not be able to do that. We can take care of all the merit badges, which is 95% plus of all the stuff that scouts are working on. But for the units, you may need to upload a few of those things. Um, had a message whether or not scouts can bring their own RC cars. Absolutely. The scouts are welcome to do that. They're welcome to run around the track. Just be aware, we did have a scout that brought his own RC car this week and it already got a little bit damaged from, I think he hit something or whatever. So the buyer beware kind of a situation. But yeah, absolutely. They're welcome to bring their own cars. Little thing about adult supervision. This is always an important part of the scouting program, right? It's one of the methods of scouting of the scouting program. And so our message, our request to you, if you will, is to just help to supervise larger groups of scouts, particularly those that are heading to the common areas. We have, over the last couple of years, really developed a main square sort of common gathering space in between the trading post, the shower house, and the Grizz Pavilion, that general vicinity there. Last year, we put in the chessboard and expanded the basketball court and put in the pickleball court. This year, we moved the Gaga ball pit up there. So it's no longer down by in the Tuscadaga field. It's now up across from the chessboard in front of the trading post. And so that area is very popular. And that's wonderful. That's what we want. We want the scouts kind of being able to interact with one another from across troops and engaging socially with one another. But we also know that when scouts gather in large numbers, sometimes they are not always as scout-like as we would like them to be. So we simply ask that if you've got scouts, a group of scouts from your troop that are headed to one of these areas, or they're headed to the shower house at night or something like that, um, please send an adult down to hang out and just kind of be there. Like you can sit at the Grizz Pavilion and just sort of keep an eye on things and get the spidey sense when things are starting to go a little wild. And it just helps out. These are designed to be passive programs. They're not staffed during the day. But if we can just have a little bit of extra adult supervision, that would be helpful. To that end, we've also been asked by a number of leaders this year, as well as last year. How can we help? Is there some other things that we can do? I don't want to just sit around the campsite all day long. Your mileage may vary on that. Some of you may be looking forward to your hammock and your book and whatever, and that's cool too. But if you're looking for something to do, ways to kind of help out a little bit, this is one of the things that can get you points on the Super Troop Award that Quinn was talking about earlier on. There are some different activities that we could use some assistance with. We have had some leaders go out and sit in a kayak and help keep an eye on the inflatable slide, which is one thing that helps us to maintain the 360-degree supervision of that. That is a big part of allowing us to open up the slide more frequently. It tends to be limited in its access specifically because we have to have 360-degree view of the slide, which if we were to take our staff and provide that, we would not have enough staff to simultaneously run a full open swim program. So that means we have to decide, if it's just the staff, we have to decide to open up the slide for a small number of scouts, 13 plus age scouts, or open up the waterfront for an open swim for everybody. So we do open it up, but we do it on a limited basis. If we have some adults that are willing to just go sit out in the kayak and work on your tan and alert the staff should anything be amiss, we could, that's an opportunity for us. There's another one that I wanted to mention, which is that we, for a few different reasons, we made the decision this year that we are not offering the outpost for camping merit badge. We are offering it for wilderness survival merit badge, or at least we plan to. We are not offering the outpost experience for camping merit badge. The actual overnight for camping merit badge was never part of the requirements of the merit badge. The requirements that scouts would do for camping merit badge on the outpost, they are going to be able to complete all of those requirements within their merit badge sessions, with one exception, and that's the 4 mile hike. That is a part of there's one requirement where they have to do two of a list of 4 or 5 different things while on a camp out. One's a 4 mile hike. There's a winter camping element. There's a climbing, rappelling element. There's a few different things. Many of the scouts already have a 4 mile hike already on their record, if you will, from a troop activity. And it was logistically very difficult for us to continue to support that particular activity. That doesn't mean that you couldn't take advantage of the trail system here and take your scouts out on a hike while they're at camp and check off that box and satisfy that requirement. We do still plan to offer the outpost for wilderness survival. However, we need some help. We don't have the ability to use junior staff overnight for that, to provide some additional staffing support for that. We do have a 21 plus age staff member who will lead that, but we need a couple of adults to support that and provide some extra assistance, especially if we have any girls that are participating in the wilderness survival outpost, because the staff member that will be leading it is male. So if we're going to send the group out, we need to have a female adult leader that's willing to go out to go with them to meet the BSA youth protection guidelines. And that's where we're turning to you for some assistance. If you are willing to go out, Outpost is great fun. We had a couple of leaders go out last week, had a great time. We've got a couple that have already signed up to do it this week. The Outpost site is not that far. It's from sort of center camp. It has water. It has a latrine. Dinner will be delivered out to you. We have camping equipment that we can provide for you if you don't have your own, but if you want to bring your own tent and camping equipment, you're welcome to do so. But if you are interested, willing to help support that, to provide some extra adult supervision for that activity, please reach out to me or to Quinn, let us know, and so that we can let the Scoutcraft staff know about that. So with that, those are the kind of the official announcements and descriptions that we have for you. So this would be a time, if folks have questions, we'd be happy to take any questions you have. You can open up your mics and ask us, or throw it in the chat box, and happy to answer anything you might have. Keith?
Hey, folks. Is there plans to do polar bearing in the morning?
Yep, polar bears on Tuesday and Thursday morning.
Terrific, thank you.
Yep. See a couple of questions in the chat there. First one's about a recommended gear list. Quinn, can you throw up the link to the planning guide? If you go to the camp website, and Quinn's about to throw up the direct link here for you in the chat box, but if you go to our camp website and you go to the resources page, there is a planning guide for leaders and parents that is there. Has a lot of great information in it. And one of the things that's in it is there's a page there that has some suggested packing list. Now, every scout's going to vary a little bit as far as what they need or what they're looking to do, but that has the first one I think was the Cub Scout one, but the second one is for Scouts BSA. So we've got the we've got a list in there of suggested packing items. Training for leaders. We mentioned the IOLS, the Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills, which is one of the trainings required for frontline leaders to be fully trained. So Scoutmasters and Assistant Scoutmasters to be considered fully trained, they do need to take IOLS. That'll be offered Tuesday and Thursday. You basically will go up to the Cub Scout Pavilion at about 9 o'clock after breakfast. Training runs most of the day until late afternoon. You will break for lunch and you'll go down and have lunch with your troop and then go back up for more program time while the scouts are at program. Repeat again on Thursday, and that's a great way to get a lot of basic skills for outdoor camping opportunities. There are others. There's Leave No Trace training. There is the Wilderness First Aid training, which if you'd like to take that, the Wilderness First Aid training does have a cost. The other ones do not. But there is that one. And there's a few other trainings that are offered throughout the week that adults are welcome to participate in or are geared towards adults. Other questions? The other thing, by the way, on the trainings, we do have computers available. You're welcome to bring your own computers and use the Wi-Fi that we have available in various locations around camp, or we have computers available here in the office to you. And a lot of scout training has moved online. So things like the Safeguarding Youth training, which everybody already should have before they come to camp, but a lot of the other trainings are available online. There's nothing that says you can't take some online trainings while you're up at camp, while you're on scouting time, and it doesn't take away from other family commitments or work or all those other things. You can knock out some online trainings here, get a little bit of air conditioning in the office, and knock out some training while it's hot outside. So everybody, question about what tents do leaders sleep in? Do they share tents with other leaders? Sometimes that Quinn just posted, it looks like a picture of one of our tents. Those are most of of what people sleep in here is tents. We do have some lean-tos depending upon the campsite that you may be staying in. No campsite is entirely lean-tos. Every campsite is majority tents, like the picture that Quinn just posted up in the chat box there. The tenting situation is dependent upon how many people are in the site and whether the site's being shared or not, affects the capacity of that, or not the capacity, but the number of people that are in there. Tenting assignments are made on a unit level, and that is as long as you're conforming to all youth protection standards. Obviously, adults are not able to share a tent with a youth, even if it's their own child. They're not to share that except under very specific, limited circumstances, usually with developmentally disabled youth. But otherwise, those tenting assignments are done on a unit-based level. So, if leaders need to share based on the occupancy and the number of people living in the campsite, that may be a possibility, and others they won't be. Obviously, unmarried leaders of different genders are not to share tents together. Signing up for merit badges and programs, that has already been open online. So if the scout has not signed up, they should do so. Or the unit leader, or communicate with your unit leader. They may have already signed the scout up for a program. But merit badge registration opened up back in May. So that went live then, and scouts can sign up for that through Blackbug. Power for CPAP machines. Yes, the kind of power depends upon the campsite that you're in. There are some campsites that have access to electrical outlets. That would be Shinnecock, Algonquin, Oneida, and Iroquois campsites have access to electrical outlets. The rest of them do not. They're just too far away from any electrical lines. But for those, if there are people in those sites that require that, we do have the large batteries that can be taken out and used and charged during the day and used to power CPAP machines at night if you don't have your own battery for that. Yep. Quinn mentioned the mud levels at the moment is very low. Hopefully it stays that way. Although maybe a little rainstorm coming through would be good for the for the heat and humidity. Break some of that stuff. We do supply the cots, and if you go back up and look at that picture of the tent there, you'll see a couple of cots in that photo. I think we got to all the questions in the chat. Other questions?
Hey, Brian, Jacob Berry
Hi.
with Troop 34, and we're sending 6 provisionals, and I'm the adult signed up.
Yep.
Do you know what campsite we're going to?
I have not finalized that yet, so we'll be working on that in the next couple of days to finalize that because you have one leader for the week or your partial week. Remind me of
I'm
the
partial
situation.
week, but
That's what I thought.
if you need me desperately, then let me know. But right now I'm
Okay,
partial week.
okay, we'll talk offline.
Okay.
Yeah, the leader tent situation really is dependent upon. I've seen some comments. We had our own tent. Oftentimes that is the case, but it also depends on the size of the troop, and or whether there's multiple troops in a campsite. We have the tents, and how you fill them is up to you as long as you're meeting all the youth protection guidelines. To that end, there was a change last fall, I think is when they announced the change that you may not all be aware of, which is that for a few years now, there's been a rule that scouts that are more than 2 years apart in age were not allowed to tent with one another. That's still the rule, except for same gender siblings. So that was changed. So it used to be that even two brothers could not share a tent together if they were more than 2 years apart. That is no longer the case. Same gender siblings can share a tent even if they are more than 2 years apart. So that may make things a little bit easier for you as you're figuring out your tenting assignments within the troop. That's a national policy that was amended. Other questions? We've got I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but right around 100 campers are expected for next week. Other questions? All right, not hearing anything. We wanted to thank you for joining us this evening and giving your time to join in and listen to us and answer ask some questions and such. We will stick around for a little bit. I'll turn off the recording in a moment here, just so if anybody has any additional questions that they wanted to ask without the recording, we can certainly do so, or you can send them through the private chat. But thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for the time that you're giving next week and for all that you do for scouting. And if there's anything that we can do for you, please let us know. So Quinn and I will hang on for a couple of minutes just to see if anybody else has anything, but you're welcome to log off and we will see you at camp on Sunday.